Listen.
You people want to get wild? Yeah. You want to get real wild? Do it. It's a Kentucky board gamer in the house.
Now let's get out there and melt some faces.
What is going on, everybody? Tim here, the Kentucky board gamer, and I am back with another game review, and this time it is Creeps of Keister Island from Gut Busting Games. Alright, so this game, I got asked by Lisa of Gut Busting Games if I would like to review this, or if I would be interested, more or less. And of course, I read up on it and it was just like, yes, let me check this one out. So as you can see here, the artwork on the game is wonderful. If you like this style, because all the cards have different artwork and it's great. You have, oh, I think that's a Twinkie. Never noticed that. I thought it was like a banana or something before. I like this one too. So anyways, for 2 to 7 players, it takes about 30 minutes to play. And in this game, you want to get the lowest score each round. Now, as you can see, it comes with 2 decks of cards and rules. Rules are plain and simple, and even point out important things in dark gray boxes. As well as the rules and the cards, you get these 4 player aids, which the game is easy. You might need them for the first game or 2. After that, you'll leave them in the box. And all they do is tell you, on your turn, choose one of these 3 things, and then they tell you what the action cards are. Okay, so we're going to leave them in there. You have 204, or well, you have 104 cards, and the cheat sheet cards. So we're going to take one of these decks, because they're both essentially the same thing. And in each deck you have 2 zeros and 2 13s, and then every other number in between 0 and 13 there are 4 of. So first things first, when you go to play this game, it's really fun with 4 and 5 players. I played it with 2, 3, 4, and 5 players, and 4 and 5 players seem to be the best, just because I like more player interaction, and this game seemed to give me that. It was really fun. We were all laughing, we were all stressed in a way, you know, like, oh god, don't do that, and in the end it was worth it, every minute of it. I unfortunately didn't get to play 6 and 7 players, but I can imagine it being just about the same, which would be fun. Now, with 2 players, it gets a little stale, but you know, they make up for that by one of the alternate rules is you can have more cards instead of the 4 that you start a game with, or your turn with. And so they say you can have like 6, and you can look at 3 instead of 4 and look at 2. Although that does help, I feel this game is definitely a fun 3 player and up. 2 player I love because my wife and I play games, and it does pass. It works. It's just not as good because you don't have much player interaction between just 2 people usually. So anyway, when you first play the game, you shuffle up all the cards really good. You deal 4 out to each player. Then you put 1 from the top, and that's your discard pile, that's your draw pile. Now, if you'll notice, I don't know how well it'll show up here on the screen. I love the artwork on these cards. There. We call this guy a similar pink starfish name from a children's show. That's just what we gave him the nickname of. So each player will then spread out their cards. And they can put their cards in any silly fashion they want, if they want them like this or what have you. But once they're put that way, they have to be that way for the rest of the game. and that is because you would technically be able to mark which cards are which. Once players have their 4 cards set up, each player then looks at 2 cards. So I look at a 6 and a 9. They look at a 9 and a 6. Okay. And then they'll go first. Now, on your turn, you can do one of 3 things. That's 2, not 3. You can do one of 3 things. You can draw from here, and play an action card, or whatever it does. Or you can draw from here, or you can say Keister, yell Keister. Keister means end, and at which point the end of the round would start. Every player, once a person yells Keister, everybody else gets one other turn, and then you flip your cards to your points. Lowest points win this game. So we're going to say they get to go first. They draw a 13. They do not want to keep a 13, so they're just going to go ahead and toss that one out. My turn. I draw an 11. Now, this is an ability card. It says swap. I'm going to go ahead and play the swap. And oh gosh, I can't remember. We're going to go ahead and swap these 2. And you can't look at them. Alright, now it's their turn. They get a swap. Now they're going to want to swap something, but they don't know what. So we're going to go with this one and this one. Okay, now on my turn here, this is how the game goes. You back and forth. Now, my turn, I'm going to draw this card. I know what these 2 cards are because they match. Oops. Or do they? These 2 cards. Because they match. What son of a beep? Where's it at? There. I can get rid of these 2 and replace it with 1. Excuse me. Now, they have basically the same chances of doing the same thing. So they draw a 10 spy. Spy lets them look at one of my cards. So maybe they want to look at this one. And they're like, oh, a 3. So they don't know if they have a 3, but they know they have a 6 or a 9, and their 6 is gone. They don't know what else they have. I draw 2. I would keep the 2. Now, that's how the game goes on. Spy, swap, and then peek. A peek card, if we get one. Well, we got a 1. They're definitely going to want to switch that out. Ooh. So now they get to draw, and they're going to take that one. There's a peek card. A peek card, if you got it from here, like that, lets you look at one of your own cards, so you get to see what you have. And this way you'll know which cards you have. It's a big on memory, but a very fun game. So as plays go on, and one of the fun things that we did was a house rule that's suggested in the back of the book is to swap with anybody. So if I play a swap card, normally I'm allowed to swap mine with theirs. Well, if we're playing a 4-player game, I want to swap theirs with that player, and it's part of the rule, the house rule. So that adds a lot to it. But everybody keeps going, and you go until you have a hunch that you have the lowest possible score, and then at which time you yell Keister. Now everybody after you takes one final turn, and then you flip your cards and show scores. So we have 7, we have 10, we have 15. Okay, that's not very low, but it's not bad. There's a 12, and a 9 is 21, 22, 23. Okay, so I did win. I yelled Keister, which means I get 0 points that round. They unfortunately do not. They get 23 points. If you yell Keister, say they yelled Keister with their 23 points. If they yelled Keister and they were not the lowest number, they get their face value plus 5 for being wrong. And the same, when you're swapping cards, like say these are face down and I draw one and I want to, show you guys and get rid of them. If I do that and I'm wrong, say I reveal these two, well, now I have to keep those and that one face down, of course. So now I have 5 cards to deal with here. But you'll do that, and as you go through, the first one to cross 100 is the loser, which marks the end of the game. And it does take less than 30 minutes, or 30 minutes and less, I'd say. If your score is exactly 100, you go down to 50 and keep playing. Everybody can do that once per game. But that's basically it. That's the game. You just want to have the lowest score and screw your neighbor, pretty much. So you want to screw them over. And it's a very fun family game. It's for 8 and up, 2 to 7 players, 30 minutes. I couldn't agree more. 30 minutes is like the perfect. They nailed they nailed the time and the players. Now, could you play with more people? Technically you could. I think 7 would be fairly, that'd be the max you'd want to do anyway. 5 players was perfect for us, but 4 players would be the nice rounded number. Again, 2 players, it was kind of stale, but it still worked for me and my wife to be able to play. So if you want a game where you're constantly trying to get better cards than any other player, and you're stealing cards and you're peeking at theirs and yours, Creeps of Keister Island is definitely for you. Now, I would buy this game for family members. I would buy this for people who are not necessarily into board games and card games that are, high-end collectors or what have you. This is a perfect game for people that only know about Monopoly, Scrabble, and Risk, Trouble, things like that still. If they're not gamers in the sense of modern board games, they'll still love and appreciate this game. So be sure to check this out. Check their website out, gutbustinggames.com, and get your copy of Creeps of Keister Island. And until next time, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.